Bop bam, zippity bop boo. Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin role playing. Max is going crazy over there, down there, right there. My name is Kevin Bates Pennigs, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I will be your host and game master for this episode 143 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to shake his lustrous hair and to play the beautiful and talented Paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. I hope you like my lustrous hair. I'm going to get a cut soon. So,
Yes, we have been getting a lot of hate mail regarding that.
I love going back to the streams and seeing like longer and longer and longer, and then just suddenly the next stream it's like so short.
I'm the same way. I delay forever and ever. I'm at a good length right now, but it's going to come back to haunt us. Let me assure you.
Welcome, Quinn. I think Quinn has amnesia.
Oh no, Quinn's had a rough go of it. Poor guy.
Oh, okay. Well, it's only been 2 weeks, Quinn. Hopefully,
Right.
Hopefully everything will come back to you pretty quick.
That's right. Yeah, our recap is not that elaborate. We, in fact, it could be summed up in a caption like this. But so we are exploring one part of the catacombs beneath Pesidarius, which is a mannish city in the nation of Theaxia. We've been doing it for a number of weeks now in terms of session time, only a couple of days in terms of play time. We're at the second level of the catacombs. We've not come close to exploring them all, nor was that our goal. Our goal instead is that Brise is part of a cult that believes that magic, the ability to cast spells and so on, is the birthright of every person, and that organized religion has suppressed that, and that there are special locations within the world that if they are rediscovered, then magical ability can be regranted to everyone. But we had a little curveball thrown in that belief, Max, by the Wizard of Shekra. Mm-hmm. And why don't you tell us about that, just to give our audience a check?
Yeah. So Shekra is a very, very powerful wizard I've encountered a few times before. And he was willing to trade me some information about research he'd done into my belief, the Cult of the Nine Stars. And his findings were that the people of my faith originally sought to this kind of way to unlock this magical potential. But when they failed to do that, the majority, or at least a part of them, instead turned to trying to grant everyone magical powers to do this worldwide spell. And each of these sites that I'm searching for are actually sites of this enormous spell that should have, when activated, will grant theoretically everyone in the world the ability to use magic. And so one of these sites in Oshekra's notes is listed right here in Pesidarius, in the catacombs. And so I've been following his directions to find that location, to see for myself if what he's really written down is true, and to get obviously just pursuing my own personal interest, my own selfish interest. That's basically all what role playing is. It's just players pursuing their fantasy selfish dreams.
Murder hobos. Religion
hobos.
That's right. Fanatical religious murder hobos. Although I hope Karandrin puts a decent enough spin on that, so that's not the not the only thing it is. Yeah. So Shekra's take on it would be, his conclusion, looking at the sites that he uncovered, was that no, it's not been suppressed. The magical ability has not been suppressed at all. That maybe that's a lie that's been told by the cult, or it's a misunderstanding. It's been passed got confused in the books, and that their goal had always been to try to grant magical ability to everyone. But obviously, as this is a deep part of Brise's belief, then she wants to come to the truth of it. And to that end, why don't you make a roll for me?
16.
Okay. Well, you are concerned about, it's all well and good. There are two options here, right? It's either true or it's not. If it's true,
50-50 chance.
that's right. If it's true and you're the bearer of bad news, how is that going to go down? And how are you going to present that news?
Who am I presenting it to, though?
Well, that's the next question.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be
one other person, really, which is my
your mentor, sort of in the
from home in Grattenlau.
Right. So it is going to be interesting because there is the risk that you are going to ruffle some feathers in a pretty dramatic way. And so it's going to be important to keep that in mind and not let that slip your mind as a player, as you should you uncover that the truth is something other than what you've been taught.
Yeah, I guess to that end, what is the community that that I know about in relation to my cult? Is it simply the one mentor I had, the servant of my parents' household, or were there others I might have?
There are others you've met in secret gatherings.
Okay.
Such that there's certain rituals that you've gone through, in which
Right.
like you dedicate new paladins and things like this. I mean, you largely operate under the noses of
Right.
the temples of the day and the temples of the region, using all of their resources, honestly.
Mhm.
But you guys then go through special rites and so on, dedicating yourself to the cause and dedicating yourselves to finding this truth and really restoring what you believe to be God's the God's will for the people, which is that everyone has the right to use magic and has the ability
Right.
to use magic. And once that correction is made, presumably the cult would cease to exist because then everybody would know the truth that there's been this suppression going on.
Right.
But you will have served the God's will in terms of bringing that truth to light and bringing an end to that suppression. But yeah, there's probably, given the size of Grattenlau, there's probably 30 or so members of the cult that you know of. And you probably have the names of contacts in probably 2 other cities, and we can generate that information as needed. Probably it would be in neighboring major cities. So in case you need help of some sort, particularly if you're being pursued by authorities, if something has come to light that has exposed you as a member of the cult,
Right.
then probably there would be a contact. You would have a contact's name in Stanzen, which is the Elvish capital.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think where the other city might be. Going south, guys are in the interior. To the north, there really isn't much. So I would say Pleston would probably be the other place, which that's the Elven city north of Convergence.
Right.
And so let's just say that you have the names of contacts there, and you know how to get them, how to get to them.
And so if I did uncover something important that I need to report, I would reach out to them, and
you can pass messages through them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, if you need resources, information, that sort of thing, then they would see to it. They're going to be operatives within the temples. There'll probably be priests or paladins within the temples, and whereas you're just sort of a lowly paladin who hasn't really served the temples very long, and therefore you don't have a lot of clout, they would give you greater priority, right? Because they're part of this network. And likewise, if you're being pursued by authorities and in danger of discovery, then definitely you would use the resources in Pleston and Stanzen if they're nearby.
Mm-hmm.
You would use those to evade capture or discovery. But yeah, certainly also as a resources and as a messenger service on cult business, those contacts would be useful. So you had scurried down a burrow that had been dug by some animal or other, rather large.
Yeah.
I am going to regular pooping gauge. Okay. It is very talkative murder hobos. That's funny. Rectal probing garage. It sounds like a alien influence there.
I don't know how a garage probes anything, especially my rectum. You know what?
But you're willing to find out.
Karandrin, I guess.
That's right. Anything can happen. That's our main that's our motto. With lubricant or not. So if you'll keep an eye on the chat, I'm going to hop over to the map. So you are...
Watch yourselves, chat. I've got an eye on you.
That's right. So yeah, you scoot down the burrow, and you find yourself amongst a pile of treasure at the bottom of the burrow.
Ooh, okay.
I
like piles of treasure.
There is sort of this crude pile of coin. It's several hundred coins of silver. Sort of spreading it out with your fingers sort of quietly so as not to make too much noise. You also find 2 gems. What of this that you want to take, I don't know, but there's
I have a whole barrel of silver waiting for me at the or wait, did I end up taking that?
No, I think you teleported past that, didn't you?
Right. So yeah, I have I'll I can come back for this if I want to. I know it's here.
There are 2 gems if you want to pocket those. That's simple enough.
Yeah, I'll do that.
A green gem, and it's class N, and a yellow gem, also class N, N as in Nancy.
Well, in green gem. All right. Take the gems, leave the silver. Is there any sign of who might have gathered this here? Any other equipment or tracks or anything left behind?
They're digging through rock, basically. The creature is furred. If there's if the traces of hair here and there are any indication. There's also some shards of claw around. The shards themselves are 4 inches or so long of broken claw, and so the claws themselves would be considerably longer.
I was talking about just who left the coinage here, right?
No, I mean that's the thing is there's hair amongst the coins. So it's like whatever gathered this is more animal than...
I see.
Seems to be more animal. It seems to be the owner of the burrow,
right?
But there's no sense of recent activity. I mean, there's a layer of dust upon all the coins,
right?
There's not like there's sleeping animals around, and so on.
It likes, if I run in this thing, it likes shiny stuff.
Apparently. apparently, let me see, and I need to go. Yeah. And I need to. I'm going to move you guys. So, what would you like to do?
Okay, so let's read through the rest of the next, couple steps from Oshekra's notes. Because the last thing I read was that would climb down into the burrow. So,
Right. Oops. Can't remember how to operate this. It's been 2 weeks. So I've got to forget how to operate this illustration program. So so you are going to come out into a set of into a what do we call those? I've forgotten what we've called those. But the set of tombs for the poor, right? These sort of shelf tombs. That's what we call them. And where everyday citizens were buried, and the burrow terminates into one of those. Even at his time, there was no sign of the creature that made this, but by the same token, there's no mention of him finding treasure here. So kind of weird. It means, of course, it was 20 years ago.
Right.
So,
unless this treasure was just not enough for him.
Well, this is true. You're sort of to that point in your own life. So the instructions tell you to, I gotta think this correctly, to enter the shelf tomb.
Okay.
And then turn left, go to its end. You will pass 2 more shelf tombs. You'll come to a third, and you want to walk down that one.
Okay.
And they will all open at that point as you're walking down. They'll open to your right. So you are in one of 4 shelf tombs, basically.
And I want to walk to the last one.
Yes. And then turn into it and go all the way to the end.
Okay. Let's do that. So in this room, we'll take in this room, right? Is there the end of the shelf tomb I can see?
Well, where do you want your lantern?
Oh, yeah, that's right. My cat, too. I almost forgot. Azrael. So we'll have Azrael in front of me and my lantern in front of me around 30 feet as well. And we'll have my spear and shield at the ready.
So your Azrael and the lantern pretty quickly come down to the shelf tomb, illuminate it for a good distance. You enter the shelf tomb quietly. Roll for me.
21.
Not that quietly, but you gave it your best try.
Your best shot.
Where is your... There it is. So you are at one end of the shelf tomb. It opens to your right. The majority of it seems to open to your right. To your left, you can immediately see the end of the shelf tomb and a hallway leading, leading away from the.
When you say it opens to my right, you mean the majority of the room is my okay.
So to your right, it ends in darkness. Like you can tell it keeps going.
Right.
Um, to your left, you can see the end and the hallway that leads from it. And it proceeds, well, I would say down, but that's only because I'm looking at a map.
Along. So let's push my lantern into the middle of the room. Make sure we can see everything in here.
Right. Roll for me.
60.
Azrael is more interested in the other end of the room, the one that was fully illuminated.
Okay.
His ears are perked up, but you can see there are very fine track marks in the dust. A lot of marks. I'm trying to, as those very sharp objects. Something walking on very sharp legs. So the little pit marks, I guess, in the dust. But then there are also foot-size imprints in the dust. Roll for me.
52.
Not ringing a bell. Obviously, your fear in a place like this might be some form of giant spider.
Yeah.
With, pinpoint kind of legs. There's a sense, looking at patterns in the dust, that what it was wet. But there are lots of these marks all over the place. And so this is either a heavy trafficked area or a single creature that makes its way through here frequently. And still, Azrael's attention is to the near end of the shelf tomb.
Okay. If I move my lantern upwards, do I see anything on the ceiling, spider webs, or other tracks like that?
The ceiling is pretty well illuminated. I mean, it is a 50-foot radius of light. And they're only about, it's only about a 10-foot high ceiling. So they can get that fourth body up top. But no, there are no marks on the ceiling. There are no webs on the ceiling other than very fine cobwebs.
Okay. And then we can look in the direction Azrael's looking. Do I see anything on the wall? Any cracks?
No.
Okay. Maybe he's hearing something far off. Quinn asks, if I move to Colorado, will Obi-Wan, Karen, and you come visit?
Yes, we'll all come visit.
All right.
I think that's a fair question. And no hurricanes. So there's that.
This is true. Not yet.
Not yet. Wait till the sea moves in over Texas.
Yeah. So I will, I mean, that's all this room. So we can continue down the hall into the next shelf tomb.
Right. So you will turn to your left, move toward the end of this room. Where do you want Azrael?
I have him in front of me.
Okay.
10 feet.
He will round the corner into the hallway first. He hisses at what he sees and backs up before you've rounded the way.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'll step into the hallway so I can see what it is. back, but not, not right at the corner. Can get some distance.
Sure. Sort of back yourself against a wall, keep anything from coming behind you. Lantern illuminates a good deal of the hallway. You can see two shelf tombs open to the right, separated by about, there's a 10-foot section of wall, and then you get the broad 20-foot opening of shelf tomb, and then a 10-foot section of wall, and then and here are about basketball-sized sort of hermit crabs. They're a pale salmon color.
We're eating good tonight.
Yeah, you are. Heavy claws. They seem to generate their own water. There's no water around, and yet the floor is kind of mottled with pools of water. You see it emitting from them. Quick glance, quick count shows there's 9 of them. You can see they're coming in and out of the other 2 shelf tombs as well. They have built at the corners and up against the wall, they have built these sort of using lots of little shells that they must have dragged from somewhere. But these are seashells, no doubt. But they have built like little caves for themselves. You can see that there's some sort of cement that they generate with their mouths, as you see one repairing one of its caves. These are about knee high, sort of form like a slope up against a wall.
Right.
And they can back themselves into it, and provides an extra layer of protection. Your chimes that detect undead are continuing to sound. Not that that's to say that these are undead.
They're undead in the vicinity.
Yes, because you've got quite a range on those chimes.
Yeah. Get the shells. You said they generate their own water. I'm not sure I understood. Like, how high is it off the ground? Is it coming?
Just little pools here and there.
Okay.
You can tell that there are pools that have evaporated and left sort of, a film of dust around them. But, they leave a ring of thicker dust.
Right. Okay.
It seems like they feed on the rats that populate this area, which makes you worry about Azrael quite a bit.
Yeah. Azrael's potentially large rat sized.
Yeah.
Do they notice me?
Yes. The nearest ones turn and back away from you. They seem unaccustomed to the light. A couple come out of the shelf tombs further down the hall to investigate the light and stand watching you. There's enough of them. This hall is 6 feet wide or so. And as big as they are, being, a foot across or more.
Right.
It's really like picking your way through a minefield at this point.
Yeah. Their claws are probably sizable too, right?
Yes. I mean, you feel like they could cut through a boot pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay. Looking through. And so I need to get, it looks like they're in this kind of, so the hallway leads into one tomb.
The
And
hallway goes past
right,
um, two tombs that you can see
right.
and continues into darkness.
And they're how, like, what's the area that they're covered of the hallway? Is it like the
As
entire
far as
hall?
you can, as far as you can see,
Wow. Okay.
so 50 feet or so. In that 50 feet, there are now 12.
Yeah.
They must occupy some space too in the other two um, shelf tombs.
Okay. Hermit crabs. Well, we can try a little speak with animals. See what if I can reason with them.
You know, you could, I suppose, try to levitate over them. Don't you have levitate?
Yeah, actually that's true. And the ceiling isn't that high. I don't think I would be too
Yeah, you just have to kind of hike up your legs and just
right.
sort of pull yourself along. Put Azrael on your shoulder.
So levitation. What else? Could try to scare them off, but my fear is they would then scatter everywhere into, I don't know what's further down the hall.
Right.
Um, Teleport past them, although teleporting is always risky. Inside the catacombs.
And you can't see far enough. You can't see a safe location to teleport to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of irrelevant. I mean, I guess you could send the light further down.
Interesting. A spell I've never used is ward, which I wonder. It says around a target or area, I can create a ward. How do I know how much I can sculpt that? Right to like, I guess they're in the hall, so it wouldn't matter, right? I would kind of end up blocking my own path.
Well, I mean, the ward would, I forget the description of the spell.
So initially emitting a golden glow around the target or area, the ward spell prevents a class or individual below the ward's level from entering or touching the affected area. So I could name that creature, right, or that race.
And sort of bulldoze your way through, sort of
right,
slowly.
Right. And then yeah. Well, so it does it move or is it just an area?
If you put it on an individual, it would have to move.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting new spell to try out.
All righty.
So 1 minute a level, so that'll be 14 minutes. And 20, so range is 2 foot radius a level. So I could push them, have a clear space of almost 30 feet.
Well, if you put it on an area, yes.
Okay, if it's on me, then.
Well, no, I guess it would still do the same thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, you can restrain that area as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you could make it a 5 foot radius.
Right.
Because otherwise,
I think I'll make it like, just 10 feet, right? Because I don't want them to I don't want them to get like trapped just to kind of move away.
And just sort of move through them peacefully.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's give it a try. So we'll take all the time I need. This is a 10th level spell, so.
And you've got your sorcerer spear.
Yes.
All right, roll it up.
All right, here we go. Boom, 74.
Nice. Are you using PowerPoints or are you using?
Yeah, PowerPoints.
All right, sir.
So we'll give it just walk towards them, give it a little test, make sure, and I'll have Azrael in my arms, just kind of have him
Okay.
close to me. So I'll put my spear and shield away so I could carry him. I can carry him with one arm. I can carry a cat.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a cat, not a,
have my
not a Rottweiler.
my shield out, and then Azrael in the other arm.
Okay. And you sort of walk slowly through. Those that back into their little castles of protection soon find that the ward makes them so uncomfortable as you approach that they scurry out, and so you're realizing you're having to kind of back up and then go forward again,
right,
to give them a chance to realize, no, you really need to get entirely out of the way.
Right.
You come to the next shelf tomb.
Okay.
They seem to have colonized about a third of that hall. They do seem capable of climbing up to the shelves themselves, and you see there are not burrows, but they're little self-made caverns. The little shelters that they make are up on the in the bottom shelf tomb, and the second one. They are clicking their claws in definitive patterns. There is a sense of communication between them, if only, hey, watch out for this guy, kind of a communication.
Right. Bring out the spellcaster. What?
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
So you make it to the third. Here, they've colonized, maybe 20% down the hall.
Quinn's calling me a chonky boy. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know what that means, actually.
I think it's just I'm pushing everything out of the way as I make my way down the hall.
Clam chowder boy. Oh, hey. Today's the 9th. I just thought about that. Sorry.
It's National Kilbreeze Day.
That's right.
I almost forgot.
So you make it down to the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
The hall does continue past the fourth one into a much larger room ahead. There's also a hallway that opens to the left before you get to that larger room.
Okay, so continues on. And so there's a hall out of the left of this tomb or out of
this hallway you're in.
Okay. So we want to get to the end of the fourth tomb, though. So we'll continue onwards. So
you turn. Oh, what does that button do? Weird. What? Oh, man, that's not good. So yeah, you turn then to your right to go down the fourth shelf tomb.
Mm-hmm.
They've colonized only maybe 10% of this one.
Okay. Huh. You know what?
You are now pushing a little group of 4 hermit crabs in front of you.
Get out of my way.
You've noticed a pattern of rat tails being the only thing left behind after they've eaten a rat. They seem to consume it entirely except for the tail.
Okay, so once we get to the end of this 4th tomb, we can check Oshakra's instructions again.
Right. So as you're moving down, you come to a hallway not mentioned in the middle of this shelf tomb.
Okay.
Half the crabs go down that way. So you just got 2. You just are making your way slowly, giving them a chance to move. You come to the end.
Come on, guys. I haven't got all day.
So here, there's a hall that continues forward, but your instructions are to take the hall to the left at the end of this tomb.
Okay.
And then you'll come to another hallway connecting shelf tombs. Oops. And the instructions are to come to the T intersection of this set of, there'll be another set of shelf tombs. Take a left, go all the way down to the last shelf tomb. You'll pass a hall to the left early on, skip it, continue all the way down until you find a hall at the very end of this particular shelf tomb.
Okay. To a hall. So I will. So there's a hallway going left from this one then?
Yes.
The end of this one. Okay. So we'll take that.
What I was thinking, you want to stop for a few minutes
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and then we can hop right back. Hide that. So we're going to run, stretch our legs, and refill our drinks, gang. It's going to be a shorter one today. I'm feeling my head is weighing upon me, so it's hard for me to concentrate. So we're going to wrap this up about 8:30. So give us just a few minutes, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in just a few. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for being patient with us. There is Max back and ready to play. We've just been moving through these catacombs and trying to find this cult site, ancient cult site. A cult site, a cult ancient site. Anyway, so
A
present.
cultish, ancientish, sitish.
That's it. That's it. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. Let me hop back to our map. So,
And so I'm taking this hallway, hopefully away from all these hermit crabs.
yes, they are continuing down the hallway that leads beyond the shelf tombs. You're taking the one to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your way, relative quiet. I'll have you stop and listen at the intersection of these two hallways.
Let's see if Azrael also notices anything.
Azrael's ears are tuned behind her, no doubt listening to the scurrying of the crabs as they return home. Your ward is about halfway through.
Sorry, did not even hear the last sentence. I was reading Quinn's comment. Welcome back, everybody. We've replaced Max with a can of Folgers crystals and a Max mask. Let's see if anyone noticed.
So weird.
What are Folgers crystals? All right.
It used to be a commercial back in the 80s and 90s. They would replace allegedly gourmet coffee with Folgers instant coffee. And Folgers was famous for having these flavor crystals. They still have them.
Yeah.
And so they would replace them and see if people could tell the difference between some luxury gourmet coffee and Folgers instant coffee. And of course, famously, they couldn't tell the difference. And so you've been replaced with delicious Folgers instant coffee.
Fantastic. I like to think there's no such thing as gourmet coffee. There's just fresh coffee and then everything else.
And everything else.
And then there's Folgers. Yeah.
And then there's and down well below that. Folgers always had an odd taste to me. I can drink it, but it has an odd taste to me. And I've tried mixing it with, Starbucks has an instant coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about it is it's, if anything, stronger than the what you get at their shops. And so I've tried mixing those two to see if I could come up with something that I liked better. And I didn't have much luck there. But
two wrongs don't make a right.
I guess
I'm just kidding. For anyone who loves Starbucks, that's fine.
Yeah, if you love Starbucks, then you probably don't have teeth because the coffee's taking them from you. But
oh yeah,
but really, whose fault is that?
You said there's an intersection here. Is it?
Yeah, a T intersection.
Okay.
You are, tasked with going to the right.
Mm-hmm.
You've come out at this T intersection of a hallway. The hallway connects numerous shelf tombs. There are two sort of directly across from the intersection, and your light illuminates them a good deal, down 30 feet or so. You hear nothing. There are definitely humanoid footprints in the dust. Something has come this way recently. What would you like to do?
So there are two shelf tombs to either side of me.
Right. As you come to this T intersection of a hallway, across the hall, on the other side of the hall, there are two different shelf tombs that go deeper in, that you can see from your vantage point.
Gotcha. So we can send my lantern down the first one on the left. See what I can see.
Yeah.
It's hard to draw that.
The footprints head that way. They do not come out.
Ooh. Let's check down the other tomb, send my lantern down into the other tombs to see if there's anything there as well before we investigate the footprints.
Footprints come in and out of this one. These are very long. Even at the edge of your light, you cannot see the end.
Do I leave it alone or do I see what might be lurking in there? How does Azrael feel about the left tomb?
Just interested.
Okay. We'll send my lantern down as far as it'll go without entering that room. See if I can see the other end. To the left tomb on the left.
You're sending your lantern down the shelter?
Yeah. I got my spear and shield ready to go.
You bring your lantern up short as it encounters a squat figure that is headed your direction. You've never seen this species before. Powerfully built, almost like a hunchback dwarf. Just very thick-bodied, powerful limbs. 4.5 feet high. Large black eyes. And where you might think there might be a mouth or a face, it's just these black bristles that shoot forth. It carries a pack on its back and walks with a staff. It has pouches slung at its belt. It's unaccustomed to the light and raises a hand to it to shield its eyes. It sort of points at the lantern and sort of shoos it away and looks at you.
Okay. Doesn't seem aggressive. Yeah, I'll move my lantern towards me I can't dim it, I don't believe. So I'll just
Yeah, it has you've got a shutter on it.
okay.
You
But
can
can I move the shutter magically?
no, but you just bring it to you and
Right.
then shutter it somewhat, and then cast the light, say behind you, and the splash off will
We'll do that
provide
then.
a dimmer light. You can shut the shutter all the way down to a tiny beam,
Mm,
and that way you can signal people.
right.
Also, um, more comfortable now. He takes reaches behind him and pulls out a
Crossbow.
a dragon. No, he pulls out a rolled up rug, and he spreads it on the floor of the shelf tomb.
Okay.
He unslings some packs and so on. He sets down cross-legged and begins taking wares um, out of his bags and spreads them on the rug. He takes the pillow, dusts it off, and he tosses it as a seat for you on the other side of the rug.
Okay. I'll put my weapons away and approach him. And I'm not sure how to. I'll sit down.
Um,
And see what he has to offer.
the wares are predominantly household goods, domestic goods. There's a selection of pipes, long stemmed, short stemmed, of some quality. But most shocking to you is his selection of little statuettes. And among them is a statuette of the large metal-eating centipede
Oh,
that reside in the Unmouth.
yeah. Let's see.
He takes out two little clay pots, perhaps 10 inches across or so. He sets them in front of him, and this is basically his cash register. And he pops, sort of unlatches from these leather latches. He unlids them, and there's a little amount of silver in one, a little amount of gold in the other, and there's his cash register. And he just looks at you patiently.
I ask him in thanks, where did you acquire all these goods?
He looks at you blankly.
All right. Doesn't seem the talkative type.
Meanwhile, he does sort of examine everything on you. He's looking at your boots, checking out your cloak. Looks at Azrael.
Does this so it's interesting. So it's like we run into these kind of creatures all the time, right? He's like a creature, but he's also obviously sapient, right? He's kind of a race of beings. I don't know if he has any way of communicating other than just
Gesturally.
gestures. So I'll just kind of play along.
He points to the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
He digs in his cash register, and he sets out 6 mithril.
Wow. unfortunately, that is not something I'm going to sell.
Yeah.
Money's not important to me enough for a magic item that is this important, I feel like.
I mean, you've got to have it down here. I mean, there's no question.
Exactly. So I'll just kind of shake my head, pat the lantern. Okay, it's important.
He adds 2 more mithril to the pile.
Do I have a limit? Because I don't have any other lanterns. I only have torches.
Right. And you have to carry those.
Right. So I'll just kind of shake my head, and are there any of the statuettes that also stand out besides the centipede? Any that kind of like look kind of well made, right? Good quality.
There is one that is particularly interesting because it depicts him and his kind. A number of beings identical to him, packs, stabs, bristled faces. This is wooden, perhaps, carved very well. They stand on either side of this multi-legged sort of bulbous. I mean, you'd almost think it's a caterpillar. Pack animal. It's also loaded with packs and so on. It's furry and black. There's no sign really of what's the front or the back, except that one end seems to be uncovered. There is across the back of this animal seems to be like a leather tarp that goes across its whole length, or several tarps like that, perhaps sheltering it from moisture or whatever, prevent things from chafing it. And on top of this, you see there are packs and bags strung. 4 of his kind stand, 2 on each side, facing various directions. He gestures toward one clearly. It's a female human, a high woman of moderate means. It's stone painted. She's very pale. She carries with her a shopping basket. She wears a short cudgel at her belt.
Okay.
There's a pouch of material by the pipes. It is not tobacco. Roll for me.
73.
You think it's ground mushroom or chopped dried mushroom. There's a long-legged deer among the statues. It is made of a crystal substance mounted on a wooden carving of ferns and giant mushrooms. It's very slender. The deer itself is. And he simply waits patient, or she,
Okay. I'll point to the statue with the furry creature and his own people, and also the centipede devouring the metal. And pull out I'll pull out 10 gold.
He takes out 10 gold and makes a gesture and puts the 10 gold back. Roll for me.
He makes a gesture and 29.
He either wants more or less. Can't want less.
I'll give him 30 gold.
Wait, you offered him how much?
I have 10. I'll go up to 30.
But he's showing you 10 and making a gesture. So
As
he
if
wants
10 more.
that. I think is your interpretation.
Okay. I'll give him 10 more then.
It's quick as a flash. He leans forward, snatches the gold, and then just as quickly he's back, sort of right by you, wrapping up each statue in cloth and twine.
Okay.
And he sets them before you, and he shambles back over to his seat and sits down.
I do a little. Well, it was great hanging out with you, but I think I got. So I'll kind of make to gather my things, and well, actually, I'll give him some torches if he needs a source.
He doesn't seem to care for bright light.
Well, right, but he wanted my lantern. I guess the lantern for the value of it, not necessarily for the light.
For use, right? He had no working light, and apparently was doing just fine.
Right. Okay. No, in that case, then I'll gather my things and
roll for me.
84.
So he must deal with other beings who need light.
Right.
And so, and it must come at a pretty cost where he's from to have such a useful item.
Right. I was even going to say maybe the Unmouth if he has the statue of that creature.
Right.
Ryan, I believe they're called.
Right.
Okay. 420.
Well, there you go. You stand. He stands and gives you a little bow. And he just watches you before he gathers his things up. He just watches and waits for you to leave.
All right. I will, stand up and then make my way out of this shelf tomb. And then kind of shine my lantern back down the other hallway, and we'll keep on going.
All righty.
Curious interaction.
So you pass the next one. Where do you want your lantern?
Do
you want to?
Sorry.
Do you want to send it down this next shelf tomb?
Send it all the way down as far as it can go to illuminate.
It's very deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, you lose sight of it before it comes to the end. It's just a glimmer of light. Lots of rats. Azrael's just kind of over it now. A little wary, but so used to tracking them now because they're so ubiquitous. I used to get ubiquitous and obsequious confused. I would get confused all the time. It drove me crazy. I keep seeing the word ubiquitous everywhere. I don't know what it means.
One for me, I mean, this is terrible because their opposite is commendation and condemnation.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
funny.
bad. Why is English like this?
I know. Our hodgepodge. I wonder what the purest language is. Like the language with the least external modification.
Right.
You know?
It's still, yeah.
Do you want to walk down this next to last shelf tomb, or you should?
Lantern illuminate anything of interest or no? Or did it not go all the way?
It did not go all the way.
Okay. No, we'll keep on.
Okay.
Down
Call
there.
it back.
Mhm.
Have it go in front of you. You stop and listen. Moment sound catches you from behind. It is your shuffling salesman, and he is walking back in the opposite direction down the hall.
Right. All the way down to the last. Wait, was I supposed to take a left here or a right at this T intersection?
You are headed the correct way. I'm going to have to reverse myself.
Okay.
Coming down. So you're supposed to take a right,
Okay.
and you have done that.
I wrote down left, so maybe I wrote down the wrong thing, but take a right, go all the way down to the last shelf tomb.
So you peer around, send your lantern down.
Mm-hmm.
There is, as O'Shepard's notes predicted or described, there is a hall down and to the right. No, down and to the left.
Okay.
Oh, should have turned the fan on here. I'm warm. Whew.
Getting toasty.
The Azrael is ears are perking up. You can't tell if it's from this nearby hallway or if it's further down the shelf tomb.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
We'll have him walk 10 feet ahead, and we'll keep on going. Quinn says Icelandic, Basque, and Ainu are 3 examples of languages developed in isolation without much external influences.
Oh, neat. Thanks, Quinn. Appreciate you looking that up. You come to the nearby hallway. I don't want you to cross it.
Okay.
One
going to the left, right?
Yeah.
Left, right. Okay. Yeah, we'll peer down it.
The light illuminates the whole length of the hallway, and then it's a round junction room. Or you assume it's a junction room, as there is a statue of Oxir in the middle of this one. You can tell just from the symbols at the foot of his plinth. And the light just barely sort of illuminates his legs.
I can tell my own God by just his legs. Legs.
Man, those it's like identifying birds by their legs. Used to the same thing with God.
Okay, we'll pass that hall then and keep on.
How far down you want to send your lantern?
We'll have it 30 feet ahead of this long hall.
A light appears in the distance, and there are two sort of like small glowing tornadoes. Not particularly fierce. They don't seem to generate any actual wind, just enough to stir the dust, maybe. They are white and pink. These spinning sort of apparitions of light. You can almost see through them. They approach very slowly, moving at, like an old man just shuffling down the hallway sort of pace. Azrael is very curious about them. Not alarmed. In fact, he yawns.
So they're just kind of like these slow-moving whirlwinds moving towards me. Okay.
They just sort of continue to approach.
I will stand my ground, have my spear and shield ready. I'll let them get within 30 feet. Get a better look at them.
Azrael sort of becomes transfixed by them, watching them very curious. And he curls up and goes to sleep.
Oh no, it's the spirals. He was watching Uzumaki on Adult Swim. What does Quinn say?
Nothing.
Are you assuming I didn't just know that already? Clutches pearls. You don't believe in me. I don't know.
What? Oh, my Lord.
Then you'll have to give us a better hint about that reference. So, okay, Azrael goes to sleep. How do I feel? Do I feel sleepy?
Roll for me.
When you wake up, 86.
A sudden drowsiness comes over you. You are clearly fighting sleep. Your arms feel very heavy.
Whoa, okay. Can I pick up Azrael and try to put some distance between us in the vortexes?
He is halfway between you and them.
Oh, shit, okay. Could I do a command to wake him up? Azrael, follow me.
You certainly can try.
Yeah.
He stirs.
I'll imagine cucumbers. That'll get him going.
Cucumbers?
Ever seen those videos of cats where they just freak out when they see cucumbers?
No.
They think it's, I think, a snake, like that natural response is.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the fattest snake they've ever seen.
Like you'll pull them behind it and then it'll turn around and then just jump like 10 feet in the air.
That is fantastic.
So that's all. I just got to picture cucumbers and then Azrael will just be
freaked out
at my side.
Can't go to sleep.
Flying in my face. So we try to wake him up.
He does start awake, and you're telling him to come here, and he is struggling to make it. um, and he falls back asleep.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that's a good place to stop, don't you?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Nice and cliffhangery.
It is. Let me make sure we have the whole situation. So we have me standing here, Azrael, maybe 20 feet, and then these things coming towards us, another 20 feet coming
Yeah.
towards us. Okay.
And they are moving still at just this very unhurried pace.
Yeah. Making me kind of sleepy. No, it's okay. All right, cool. Sounds like a good place to pick it up next time then.
That's right. So yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday, and hope we'll see you then. In the meantime, we are always very appreciative of you hanging out with us. We always enjoy streaming, and hey, that's 143 in the books. If you think we're doing a good job, hop the donor box and send us a little love. If you want to hear more from Max, and I think you ought to, if you can see his little short link right there for his own YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music in original soundtracks and video games. And thanks as always to Elliot Donovitz for their terrific character art that we use in most episodes, minus some of the dungeony episodes. But yes, we do use them, but not when I'm showing the map. Right. So, but if you want to see more of their work, then please go to www.artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far that you can find on Amazon in paperback and an ebook. And if you like it, hey, leave me a review and send us some love. So, Max, why don't you say goodbye to the lovely people? And
yeah, it was a fun session getting right back into the catacombs. We're making good progress here. So, yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.